Hi folks, welcome to Offer United. I'm your host Joe O'Neill, and before we get into anything, I want to spread the good news. Wolves have just gone 2-1 up, according to the private chat we have going with all the guests who are backstage. Yay! David Luiz is sent off. Arsenal down to 2 men. Yeah, that's a great way to start any evening. So we just have to continue this good form of them losing tonight, hopefully, by us winning tonight, which is what is going to happen when we play Southampton later on. We have a fun pre-show lined up. I have backstage John Silk, Vin. I actually don't know Vin's second name, but I'll find out all about him. I think this might be the first time he's on. Just nod, Vin, if it's the first time you're on. I can see you backstage. Yes, it is. And a lovely smile to go with it, and a thumbs up. And Keane, who we're all sick of seeing, but we just can't get rid of him. The three lads will be here to see us into the game against Southampton tonight, which we're all looking forward to. I actually have a funny story about Southampton. And by funny, I mean like kind of slightly interesting. I have seen United play a good few times, but I've seen United play Southampton twice. The only time I've seen United play more than once. Once was 2003, once was the League Cup final in 2017, which was a great day both times. But the funny thing about both games was, and no one else finds this as interesting as I do, so please get in the comments and tell me how interesting it is, okay? The first time I saw, or the most recent time, I'll start with that one. United obviously went 2-0 up through Jesse Lingard and Zlatan Ibrahimovic. And then Southampton came back through 2 goals from Gabriadini to make it 2-2 before a late winner from Southampton to win 3-2. Won the League Cup. It was fantastic. Back in 2003, when we were playing Southampton, when I saw them in the league game, we went 2-0 up through goals from... No. I wish it was... People are saying... the Forlan goal. No, it was prior to Diego Forlan. Or maybe it was after him. It was around that time anyway. But we went 2-0 up through goals from... Oh, it was Ruud van Nistelrooy scored 1. And I think it was Paul Scholes who scored. Oh, no, Louis Saha. Louis Saha scored in the debut. That's what it was. Louis Saha scored in the debut. Then Van Nistelrooy scored. And then they pulled it to 2-2 just for half-time through 2 goals from Kevin Phillips. Before a late goal from Van Nistelrooy made it 3-2 win to United. So I'm just saying that's a weird and interesting story that no one else finds weird and interesting except for me. And I just think it's bizarre and interesting. And I'm going to call out anyone who says it isn't, which is probably the 3 lads because you can see them backstage being not very interested and laughing at me for trying to make it interesting. Yeah, so we're previewing. We don't know the starting team yet, David. Once that comes in, we will be reacting to it and chatting about it and all like that. But wherever you're watching, whether it be on YouTube, Facebook, or, well, Facebook, Twitter, anywhere like that, please come over to YouTube and Off United. Watch from here, like the video, get in the chat, and we will be conversing with you as much as we possibly can. And we want to get your thoughts on what we want from tonight and what we're hoping for, score-wise and from the players and what our expected starting lineup will be. So get into the comments straight away and who you want to see tonight and who you think will perform tonight. The big devastating thing for Southampton is that they lost Shane Long today to Bournemouth, so therefore the win for us is guaranteed. And everyone's laughing at me again in backstage. So I'm going to bring them on and let them laugh in person. Yeah. So the first person we have on is a terrific writer and contributor to Off United for a good while now, and a wonderful bloke with the best hair in the business, and with a great name too. John Silk. How you doing?
Good evening. How's it going?
John, what is the heritage of your name? I always meant to ask you before we talk about football.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, because I can't hear you, but it doesn't matter. We're talking about Southampton. You're talking about weird and wonderful. Something that's just sprung to my mind, seeing Arsenal now losing 2-1 and West Brom beating Sheffield United, is that these are the last 2 games, and how we didn't manage to win either or both of those is just nuts. But anyway, let's maybe focus a little bit more on the future. Listen, tonight is a must-win. No doubt about that. 3 points essential to give us. I don't want to put too much pressure on it, but I think if we didn't win tonight, I think maybe we'd have to start thinking a bit more about top 4 rather than top 1. So I think tonight is, all about getting the win, and I want to see us on the front foot, and I want to see us on the front foot early. I want to see us attack Southampton. I actually think that a lot of the problems we've had at the early part of the season with the defence, largely they've gone away. I mean, we're not conceding more than sort of 1 or 2 goals a game, and generally we're also keeping clean sheets. So I think tonight is, I'd like to see Mason start on the right, probably, with Cavani keeping the number 9 shirt, and and probably Rashford on the left, despite maybe a sort of a so-so display on Saturday. But it's all about how we attack tonight, and I think we need to attack in numbers, and go for the jugular from the first minute.
Yeah, and John, you can't hear me speak.
Yeah, I still can't hear you, unfortunately.
That makes absolutely no sense. I don't understand because it was working beforehand. So, unfortunately, John, I think we're just gonna have to call. We're gonna have to call it. If you can just give, I'm gonna type in what is. Yeah, we're just gonna have to call it. But thanks so much, John, for coming. I'll see you later.
Take care, guys.
Okay? Bye. Yeah, don't know. Technical difficulties happen all the time. That is the problem with live. I guess we'll call it live television. But you heard what John said in his brief appearance here, that we want to see attacking football. We want to see us go out. We want to make. I feel I've been saying this for ages now. I'm almost blue in the face for saying it to match my walls, which I keep getting made fun of. Is that we need to make a statement. Eventually, we thought we were getting a statement against Leeds, but Leeds just basically opened themselves up and allowed us to do this because they don't change their style of play for anyone. And that suited us, and we just absolutely annihilate them. And I hope they long continue that, because who cares about Leeds? And so that's what I'm hoping that will happen eventually. I saw on Twitter that apparently Southampton are missing 11 players tonight from, I don't know how many of them are starting players, but they're missing 11 players altogether. So they are a weakened side, and we seem to be the only team that haven't been that really devastated by COVID, or whatever it is, whether it be injuries or COVID and everything as well. The lineups are out. I don't know if Sky Sports put out. I'm just gonna check it out now. Oh, yeah, one second, guys. Again, the magic of live television. Lineup, teams news live. So we've got. Cool. In goals, De Gea, no surprise. Wan-Bissaka right back. Lindelof, Maguire, absolutely keeping together, kept a clean sheet. The most previous game. Luke Shaw's starting, fantastic. Fred, McTominay. A couple of people who won't be too happy with that. And then Bruno, Rashford, Greenwood, and Cavani, which is a starting three that we predicted that we wanted last night. Pogba dropped, which is okay, fair enough. I think he's been playing fantastically, but also we need to rotate. That's what we need to do. A bit too negative for me with McTominay and Fred. If you're dropping Pogba, put in Van de Beek. That's what I'm trying to say. But I think you guys have seen enough of me, and we want to get the first reaction from someone who can hopefully hear me when they come in and join this. Vin, please tell me you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you, Joe. Can hear me.
Praise everything. Okay, this is going to be the longest video ever. If it didn't work out.
Oh well, yeah.
Vin, first of all, I didn't actually. What is your second name?
My second name is Jane.
Jin, G. How do you spell that?
Jane, so it's Jain. That's what it's spelled as.
That's very easy to remember and spell. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so just Vin's fine. That's all right.
Yeah, but your reaction to the starting lineup?
I'm kind of surprised, to be honest. Looking at McFred as the midfield to McTominay and Fred, I was expecting Pogba and McTominay or Pogba and Fred. But besides that, I think the front four is pretty much what I had predicted yesterday. Cavani, Bruno, Rashford, and Greenwood. In defense, I would have liked to see Bailly partnering Maguire, but I guess Lindelof is not too bad as well, given I think he played in the reverse fixture at St. Mary's. But besides that, yeah, pretty all right with the lineup. I think should be good enough against Southampton.
So what way do you expect us to play then?
Given that McTominay and Fred are starting, I think it's going to be a bit passive-aggressive initially. Like, I think we're going to have a lot of the ball. Southampton, I feel they're going to press, but then eventually they're going to sit back. We're going to have the ball, and so it'll be really important how we convert that ball possession into creating chances, and how clinical are we in front of goal, really. So it will be interesting to watch nevertheless.
To be honest, I'm a bit frustrated by this. I want as many creative players on the pitch as possible. I'm a big fan of Fred. I'm a big fan of McTominay. I'm not a big fan of the two of them together. I think I would always kind of take Fred at this moment in time over McTominay. I think McTominay just get a hard time.
Yeah.
Someone with a comment, just to keep on this for a second, still no Donny wasn't he supposed to be Pogba's replacement? Yeah, I don't. That's presuming Pogba leaves. Look, if we look at the world the way that's going to happen, I'm sure it is. But I think it's more so he doesn't want to play that style tonight. So obviously it's not a straight swap for Pogba for Donny van de Beek. It's more so I want to sit with these two more defensive players rather than bringing someone creative, which is something that I'm not entirely happy with.
Yeah, I think with McTominay and Fred, I think Solskjaer wants to sort of counter Southampton's press, which is going to happen initially. They're going to be pressing really high. I think they're going to play a high line for the first half at least, depending on how the game goes. I think there's a commenter from Ashley. It says, trouble is Fred and McTominay can't seem to play without the other. Need a midfielder that combines them both so that they don't drop an attack-minded midfielder. Yeah, I mean, with Donny, the case is he was brought in as a backup to Bruno and not for Pogba, right? The situation has developed through the course of the season that if Pogba leaves, then Donny can play as a number 8. Such. But I've seen a bit of Van de Beek during the Champions League when he played for Ajax, and he did really well as a number 10 when he was around the box. Sort of with his movement and with his sort of skills, he was making quite a few good passes around that. So I think that's where he's really more effective. He can do a job at number 8. We saw him play as a 8 with McTominay against Watford in the FA Cup game.
Yeah.
He was a bit, I would say he was all right going forward, but defensively he wasn't able to track back. And that left Salt McTominay alone, and that gave an open space for Watford's forwards to sort of attack. So that caused a bit of a problem. So that's why I feel that Ole doesn't want to really bring him in this game as an 8. But yeah, I guess nevertheless it'll be an interesting game. But I would have liked to see Pogba start.
Yeah, I agree. I would pretty much at this moment in time, I'd always like to see Pogba start, but I think he also needs to rest as well because I don't think he's someone who can play 50 games a season, and that's nothing against him. A lot of players can't do that. That they need to be brought in and brought out to get the best out of them. So I guess that's good player management. Ashley's come in with a comment again. At this point, Donny is looking like a waste of a signing. It's kicking the teeth to not have a right winger at the club, but there's a new signing that can't get near the lineup. I don't know. I would still think. Sometimes I'll get worried, and sometimes I hear stuff from the club and stuff like that. And there's not really been leaked about him going. There's like a slight thing saying he might go on loan, but I think it's just people looking for press more than anything else. I think he's being seen as the future in that position, but I just think they're taking their time, and that's happened with a lot of players and a lot of clubs that they don't get thrown to the deep end straight away. They need time to get used to being at the club, and like. The Premier League is a far superior league to the Eredivisie. So, and even though he did shine in the Champions League, that's once every so often that you play in the Champions League at the highest level. And if you're just playing nice football at the weekend and not to your most potential, then it doesn't show how good you are as a player. It shows how good you can be. So I think I can understand why he isn't being brought in. And if he's not doing it in the training field, if he's not showing that he's not there yet, then I think it makes sense that he's not just going to do it to appease us when we could easily just turn on him if he isn't playing well week in, week out.
Yeah, I think, and Fabrizio confirmed, I think yesterday, that Donny's definitely not going on loan 100%. He's going to be at United. He's going to get a bit of game time. And I think with Ole's management of Donny, you only have to look as far as Chelsea. You look at Kai Havertz and Timo Werner.
Yeah.
I mean, the way that Lampard really managed them, it was disastrous, really. And you can see Werner's confidence is sort of down. Havertz is only now starting to sort of get his game going a little bit, but again, both of them haven't scored any goals, and that was sort of the main reason, one of the reasons why Lampard was sacked. Besides a bunch of reasons, of course. And I think compared to that, I think Ole's doing a smart thing with Donny in the sense he isn't rushing him too much. Yes, he's a talented guy. I mean, anyone who says Ole doesn't know Donny's very talented, obviously he would know, which is why he got him right at the club. So I think it's just that this season was expected in terms of the fact that he's not going to get enough game time. He's probably going to play in the Europa League. I expect to see a lot of him in there.
Yes, me too.
Because I think playing in the European stages, I think what suits him currently. I just don't think his pace and his physicality is up there with the Premier League standards as of yet. So I just think the season will be a lot more about integration and adaptation, and then probably next season onwards, you get to see a lot more of him in the league.
Yeah, I can agree with you. I can agree with you on that. So before we finish with you for tonight, and thanks so much for being an absolutely wonderful guest, and I can't wait to have you on again. How do you think the game's going to go? What do you think the final score will be, and who do you think will be the first goal scorer?
Yeah, I'm going to go for a United win with a 3-1 scoreline.
Ooh, very nice, very nice.
Yeah. I think Southampton are going to score. I don't think we keep a clean sheet in this one, but I think we'll outscore them eventually. For me, the first goal scorer is going to be Cavani.
Brilliant. Yeah. And he's my captain of fantasy football, so that would make me very, very happy. Vin, thanks so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. I look forward to having you back on again. Make sure to find Vin on a very in it to Vinus the best name I've seen in a long time. So make sure to find him and make sure to give him all the love. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, mate.
Before we bring in our final housemate, Shane has a comment: playing McTominay and Fred against a team as good as pressing as Southampton is suicidal. If he wanted to give Pogba a rest, that's fair enough, but surely VDB. I still stand by the fact that I don't think he thinks VDB is ready to play against a team as good as Southampton. I think it is Europa League and cup games, and I think he'll play in every cup game. I think if we were playing Southampton in the cup, he would play them against them. Because we saw him against Liverpool, he wasn't very good. I realise that he needs to get a lot of games to build up his form to get used to the team, but I think he can do that just as well in training. I would rather have someone like him or someone like Pogba in the team, but I think there's a reason why they're being rested, and I think it'll be interesting. But I also think that Southampton aren't the strongest side. Haven't got their best team to pick from, and they have been on bad form. So I think we should be good enough to do them, even with Pogba and Danny on the bench. Now to bring in our final guest, and guys, wherever you're watching, thanks so much for joining us. Please go over to YouTube. Please like the video; it does help us immensely. Please welcome my brethren from the Emerald Isle, representing with a wonderful Tipperary jersey, who are the Munster champions, which he won't bring up whatsoever. The wonderful Keane. What is your second name? What is your second name, Keane? Keane Farrell? Franey, is it? Yeah, it's a very interesting name. Literally never seen it before. And you spell Keane the right way, which is K-E-A-N-E, which is the best thing.
Yeah, it's named after Roy Keane.
I should hope so, or else it's just a weird coincidence. So you've seen the starting lineup, and you've heard from Vin there. What are your thoughts?
Well, when I see a starting lineup and I see Paul Pogba dropped for McFred, I automatically think Ollie's going to take kind of a conservative approach with this game and playing the two holding midfielders. My biggest concern is, and Shane has echoed it in the comments, is playing against a team like Southampton who play with such a high press, and you play McFred and we play out from the back, is quite concerning. Consider they play a 4-4-2 and they play with a press. What you would need in that pivot is at least one midfielder who's comfortable from receiving the ball out from the back. Neither Joe McTominay or Fred are comfortable doing that, so that's a massive, massive concern. Just with Donny van de Beek as well, like I agree, like if Pogba isn't playing, surely you play Van de Beek. Van de Beek played in the reverse fixture at St. Mary's, and that played quite well. Obviously Edison Cavani was man of the match that day, and he was unbelievable.
Yes, yeah.
And Bruno Fernandes as well was very good that day too. But like I think when you look at this team, I'm happy to see Mason Greenwood get a start. Because I think, look, his performance against Liverpool warranted a start even against Arsenal last week. I think Mason, though, it's good to see him getting a run in there, especially when other forwards in the team aren't firing. I think Mason Greenwood's probably the best finisher at the club. I do stand by that. I think he's probably one of the only strikers we have who are ice cold. So like when you look at a player like him playing today, and if you're playing when you're playing like McFred and you might only create a couple of chances in a game, I think having a striker like Mason Greenwood who can take half a chance is crucial.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you on that, and I think that the only reason I do think he's the best finisher of the club. Maybe Cavani is he's basically his dad. The only one who can say he's better than him, and he is better than him because he's had an entire career and scored 450 goals. But like Greenwood, whenever he's in the box, whenever he has it on his left foot or even his right foot, I always feel that's going into the back of the net. Especially the entirety of last season and for times this season, I feel his form has dropped, but obviously he's had personal issues with his personal life, which I think have altered him a bit. But now he's getting games back to back in a row, which he's absolutely deserved, and hopefully he can lead him to scoring goals, because I think that's frustrating me the most is just we're not finishing off teams. We're not scoring against the smaller teams. We're winning by 1 goal against Fulham, 1 goal against Wolves, 1 goal against who else? Villa.
Fulham.
You know, I think I said Fulham. I think I said, yeah. But like it's not good enough. And look, we're saying we're in a title battle, and as long as it's mathematically possible, you know, we absolutely are. But like, we have to be beating teams. What's this with a comment? I saw a name that we don't like. 100% agree. Ashley Bird, Declan Rice, or somebody would be ideal. I'm gonna speak for both of us. I hope when I say not to Declan Rice, I'm hoping that we can get anyone. I'd rather have Hitler, if I'm being honest. Play in our whole midfield than Declan Rice, if that's fine with everyone. Would you be the same somewhat on me?
Do you know what? I actually said this on my show earlier on today. Like, when you look at Declan Rice, the whole Ireland thing aside, right? Because look, he's a dickhead for doing that. Like,
I wasn't even thinking about that.
Yeah, but like all that thing aside, right? The whole kind of thing what he done with Ireland, but like when you look at his qualities in terms of how he can carry the ball, in terms of how he covers space, I think he would be an ideal maybe successor for Nemanja Matic. But again, I think there's probably better holding midfielders out there. Like you have like Sakaria, you have like Wilfred and Diddy, players out there who could probably play that defensive midfield role. Because I find with McTominay and Fred at the minute, like they're doing a fantastic job, like defensively. Like from a defensive aspect, McTominay and Fred are doing great. But what I feel about McTominay and Fred is that they're doing the job of one defensive midfield player. Do you know what I mean? Whereas, like, do you know the way, like, when you have Nemanja Matic in his prime, a player like that who sits as that deep lying player, and then you have like a Bruno and Pogba ahead of him. Like, if we had a midfielder who has legs and actually is a specialist defensive midfielder, it would enable us to play a single pivot rather than a double pivot. Yeah,
I can be agree with you. And Fred, thanks for reading the comments. Just because he turned down Republic of Ireland, get rid of the just, and you might be close there. You know. What about Basuma, Brighton? And there's been a lot of talk with him. Would you be a fan of his?
Yeah, he's a very good player as well. Like Basuma, he's more box to box than a defensive midfield player, though. So he wouldn't be a specialist.
Yeah.
Like, I think what Man United need is a specialist defensive midfield player, because like the last thing we want to be doing, we've done for too many years, is shoehorning players into positions where they're not specialised in. And I think when you have a specialist in that holding midfield position, it allows our more creative players to flourish. And I think if we get that specialist defensive midfield player, we won't see like as much a defensive approach as we've seen in the bigger games.
Fred, I'm going to get to your comment in 2 seconds. Actually, no, I'll get to it right now. Are you anti-Grealish too? No, I'm not. Okay, I hate Grealish for the longest time, but the fact is he made his decision before actually playing for the senior team for Ireland, and I would probably not want him at the club if there was Declan Rice. Like, Declan Rice usurped him in bastardology. So he's lucky that the only reason I don't mind him coming to United is because Declan Rice is also a possible signing, and I'd take Grealish over him every day of the week. Connor Roberts, good to have you back, Connor. Our best performance of the season was against Leeds. In that game, our midfield was McTominay, Fred, Bruno. People should be yeah, but Connor, that was a completely different game. Like Leeds, I look. Do you want to say Leeds are having a better season to Southampton, considering they got promoted? Maybe, but like Leeds are absolute idiots. If they changed their game style against us, like they would have come out with maybe something from that game, or at least
Leeds played into our hands. Southampton
completely. Like Leeds, we didn't have to do anything. You know, we could have beaten them with basically anyone. Boo! We can see Mark's comments. Boo! Boo, Mark! Boo! Everyone, boo, Mark. That's right, Ashley. Leeds or something like that. True. Not working on YouTube for some reason. I think we have a good few people, Ashley, not like that, coming on YouTube. So I think it's just on your computer, whatever, Mark, that we can't see it.
Leno's after getting sent off there for Arsenal.
What?
They're down to 9 men. I'm not, no.
Oh my God, that is so fantastic. That's so fantastic.
When it rains, it pours.
Is it another penalty, is it? I'm so happy to hear this. I hate those certain fan channels that's down the north of England, south of England. And like all the fake videos they're going to put up of them freaking out later on is going to be hilarious for people to debunk the absolute arseholes that they are. But what was I going to say? So is it a penalty though? Can you check that? Are you watching it live?
It's a penalty. I'm not watching the game, but I'm finding out because I got a message saying Nils after getting sent off.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So I guess who's the PE teacher now? Is it still Ali or is it Arteta again?
I think Arteta is a CSP teacher, is he?
I think we're the only people who get that reference.
Yeah.
I'd say CSP is actually more relevant than religion. I think the religion teacher was always just the bollocks one.
Yeah.
So with the lineup and with everything we're discussing,
it was handball outside the box, obstructed goal scoring opportunity as well. It was not a penalty, it was a free kick.
But he's still sent off.
Yeah.
And he's going to be missing for 3 games, and so is David Luiz.
Yeah.
Amazing. Why couldn't this happen last week?
I know.
But still. But with the lineup we have now, the 11 players on the pitch, and we Southampton as well. How do you see this one playing out? What do you see the final result, and who do you think will be the first goal scorer?
Seeing the lineup, I think. Look, in our attacking players should still have enough to beat Southampton. I think we still have a lot of quality up there in Rashford, Greenwood, Cavani, and Bruno. Pogba was actually my first goal scorer when I predicted earlier on, but I have to change my mind now. So my first goal scorer, I'm going to go with Bruno Fernandes. Hasn't scored in 5, and so I'm going to go with Bruno Fernandes just to get back in the score sheet and again silence all the doubters that he's getting in the last couple of days.
And pretty much all those doubters have come from our own fan base, which is the most embarrassing thing.
Yeah.
Like we've the worst fans at times. Not anyone watching this video, of course. You're all wonderful. So Cian, thanks so much for joining us. You're an absolute legend, and we'll see you back on very, very soon.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Enjoy the game.
Yeah, I fucking better. See you later. Yeah, guys, that's been the video now. Thanks so much for joining us wherever you are. Please make sure to like this video on YouTube and share it around and everything like that. Thanks for joining us in the comments. Southampton are missing a good few players as well, which should kind of help us out a bit. I still think this will be a tight game because even though we have everything to give us every opportunity to get a couple of goals. I think we're playing conservative a bit as well, but we should be able to hit them on the break. And we do have pace. We do have everything. We just need everyone to play on song, which they haven't been for long enough. Even though we have won a lot of games recently, we still have only got 2 points from the possibility of 9 from the last 3 games, which isn't really good enough. So I think I still think it'll be a win. I still think it'll be a clean sheet. I'm going to go 2-0. I might overestimate. It's going to be. I think it'll be tired now, but I'll say 2-0. And I'll say Bruno as well. Hope I'm wrong. I hope it's like 8-0, and I hope, hopefully it'll be a good result tonight. But make sure to join us on Twitter at All For United, where Kartik will be taking over, doing a Twitter takeover, and make sure to interact with him as much as possible. And make sure to join us right after the game here, where I'll be hosting the post-match reaction, where we'll be discussing the 8-0 victory and the 7 goals by Bruno Fernandes and 1 goal from returning Jesse Lingard. Why not? Cheers, Fred. Thanks for bringing tears to my eyes for the great and himself being brought up. But yeah, thanks so much, guys. 3 points are coming, and we'll see you right after the game. Bunch of legends. Where's the outro? There it is. See you there. Bye. Thanks.